Hi, welcome to Artline Indy. My name is Michael Anthony Adams. I'm the arts reporter at the Indianapolis Star, and today I'm lucky enough to have guests Nick, Renan, and Zach Depew of Time for Three. Guys, how you guys doing?
Great.
Hey man, how you doing?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. You guys look great. You guys look fit. A little sun on your faces.
Yeah,
You've been on tour.
Yeah, been on
You've
the
been on
road.
tour.
Yep.
And we're down in the man cave. This is, is this
This is where all
exclusive to
the
be
creation
down
happens.
here? Yeah.
This is where it all goes down.
This is where the magic happens. So tell me a little bit, let's get right into it. Tell me a little bit about the new album. This will be number 4.
Yeah, gosh, if you're counting the first album that we put out, which was like a demo CD, which actually is so surprising that people actually count that as our first album, but yeah, it is. But this album is our 4th one. Man, it's I think it's a much more personal side to the three of us. A lot of times we're playing, our experience is very lucky that we're playing huge auditoriums, huge concert halls, and as classically trained musicians, so much of the technique of performing is radiating the energy and the sound and the music out into these vast spaces, and that's been really great. I mean, we've done that for 14 years. But sometimes we've talked about this, is that sometimes we wish that people could hear us when we're playing really quietly, or like in this room here where it's more of an intimate sound, and the warmth and kind of the special textures that the three of us hear when it's just the three of us, without any amplification or anything. It's just different. And I think the one thing that we're really stoked about this album is that it explores the color, the range and scope of our sound, and beautiful melodies that we've created and textures. We have a new added component to our sound, which is we've invited very particular, I'd say, guest musicians. And we have featured guest artists, which we could talk about, but just more in the concept of the sound texture. So we have a percussionist, we have an organist, we have a mandolinist, a guitarist, that kind of help in piano at some points, but help kind of fill out the sound of Time for Three. So we're very excited about this album.
Now, can you divulge, what's the name? What's the name of the album? Is that something that we can talk
Oh
about?
yeah, absolutely.
Because you've had some interesting title names.
Yeah.
So what's this one?
Well, this one actually we put a lot of thought into it.
Huge.
And came up with the title Time for Three.
Wow, a self-titled album.
Boom.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. The first. Now, I mean, you guys have been together for how long? I mean, you guys started in Philly. At the Curtis Institute.
At the Curtis Institute 14 years ago.
14 years ago.
Yeah.
And you guys all look pretty young. I mean, you're not old dudes. I mean, when you think of classical music, because you guys aren't really, I mean, you guys bend genres a little bit. I mean, you're not classical musicians per se. I mean, maybe that's your background. But can you talk a little bit about your music in general and how you're transcending these genres?
Well, I mean, it's been an opportunity for us, playing with classical instruments, but being interested in a lot of different styles of music, and being interested in collaborating with a lot of different types of artists has been something that we've been very excited about. Our home, so to speak, is the classical performing arts world. So that's where our roots are, and of course, like being in residence with the Indianapolis Symphony, there's a type of expectation, or at least a type of music that you're going to expect to hear with a symphony orchestra, and we've tailored a lot of stuff, arrangements and whatnot, in and around symphony orchestra material, repertoire, along with more popular material as well. So it's been a fun journey thus far for us in that way. Yeah,
that's awesome. Now, the ISO is putting on their happy hour, their Stella Artois happy hour, and you guys once again are headlining the event. Talk about that. Talk about how it's, what is it like being here in Indianapolis? Most of the music was made here. You guys, we were talking about that before we started shooting. Talk about that. And what's it like being in Indianapolis, creating?
Yeah, that's really exciting because the last of our 4 happy hours for this season is going to be the release of one of the releases here of our album. And the thing that's exciting about that is mainly, like you said, I mean, we've created most of the music here as artists in residence. And even though I was kidding about Time for Three and the name, that is the name of the album, however, it's our first real big one with Universal, which of course is a huge label. So it's an amazing opportunity for our group. And quite frankly, we're able to have that opportunity because of wonderful partners like the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra and the fans that make up this great city. Some of the artists on this show, we actually had the pleasure of having at past happy hours. Joshua Radin and Lily and Madeline will both be there. And one of the exciting things about this is that Joshua Radin is on 4 of our tracks on our new album, and Lily and Madeline are on 1 of the tracks on our new album. So it's very special.
That's awesome.
And it's also one of those things where, we've talked about this, the 3 of us, where this album was going to be kind of like a chapter in our life, representing a chapter in our life, which has been the many seasons that we've been here at the Indianapolis Symphony and the collaborative nature of Happy Hour, where we've brought in guest artists to come join in the party on stage with us. The album itself is very much the same way. We wanted to introduce the world to our sound and who we are, less actually that we're classically trained, but more like this is our way of spinning sound and making music. But a very huge component of what we do is collaboration. And we learned so much of what it's like to collaborate with a multitude of different kind of artists coming from many genres who speak the language of music. And we wanted our first real big introduction into the world to represent what it is that we've experienced here in Indy. So that's why a lot of these, we have Josh Radin, we have this ukulele virtuoso who's just blowing it up right now, Jake Shimabukuro. He's from Hawaii, one of the nicest, humblest guys I've ever met. Actually, somebody who we've known since she was very little. The cellist virtuoso Alyssa Weilerstein, who's now our dear friend. She's featured on the album. We have Branford Marsalis, who has been sort of like a distant but ever-present mentor to us. He's featured on a track. Lily and Madeline, who of course was here, and I feel like I'm forgetting one. Is that it? Gosh, it's so complicated.
You do so many collaborations.
I know, it's just I forget which one's on the album or not, but I think that's it.
It's like a rap album. You have DJ blah blah. So that's it's and the launch. So the launch party, your launch party for your album will be here in Indianapolis. That's awesome. Yeah. And people from your fans that are here will be able to come and celebrate with you guys. That's incredible. What inspires you most about working here, other than because you see Los Angeles and New York as even Chicago hotbeds for music. What about Indianapolis inspires you?
That's a great question. One of the things that I think we found that's so beautiful about Indianapolis are the people, the sense of community that they really bring to the table. There are so many wonderful cities in our country, and we've had the pleasure and the opportunities to go out and really get to know a lot of those areas. But being artist in residence with a symphony and doing exactly what it is that Time for Three is supposed to be doing, which is reaching out to that community, you really get to know a lot of people. And frankly, there's just a lot of people that care here. They want to be involved. And we see, 2/3 of our audience seems to come to every single one of our shows. So it's sort of this grassroots cult following, that we get to embrace.
That's awesome. Now, you guys are kind of like rock stars in this city. I mean, everybody knows who Time for Three is. And you guys just signed with Universal last year.
Yeah, this will be the first. This will be the first album, but yeah.
Yeah, this will be So, and they're kind of revamping their classical music label. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you're kind of the face of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. We're their first signing for this new label, and really the idea behind the label, as we understand it, is kind of identifying that there's this genre happening that isn't specifically crossover, but it isn't also just classical. It's these classically trained artists, and I guess in this particular case, American born and or at least these are artists that we grew up in America, so have while we're classically trained, we have grown up in the American experience, and so it's literally a label that is recognizing that the craft of how we play our instruments and how we create sound, or just our intellectual approach to making music, there's this whole new genre happening, and they feel like Time for Three is a great first example of the possibilities of where this new genre can go. And it's exciting because it's sort of labelless at this moment, but the good news is that you have artists who are actually doing this. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what it turns into. But it's very open, but it's steeped in the craft. It's steeped in very well thought up and careful creation of music. Maybe most of it coming from the classical upbringing, but I think the artists that they're going to roll out could be coming from other genres and other places as well. I don't know, but I can only hypothesize at this point.
You guys have a song that you wrote and performed on NPR's Tiny Desk concert called Sundays, and you said that it's supposed to be reminiscent of the feelings that you get the morning after, you know, a night of partying, and I think you guys wrote it after, you know, going out one night. Where would we find you in Indianapolis at nighttime? Where are you guys hanging out?
Oh, wow.
Where do you find Time for Three?
Where do you find Time for Three? All over town, probably. I mean, Renan wrote that tune.
Right.
Sundays. I think you wrote it in Philly, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You wrote it in Philly, so it was actually a Philadelphia-influenced evening that wrote the Sunday for him. But around here, you know, we definitely, we hit up St. Elmo, we go over to Mesh on Mass Ave. We have a good time going up and down Mass Ave together.
We like it on Fountain Square.
Fountain Square is nice. What's that place? Bluebeard.
Bluebeard.
Love
Great.
Bluebeard.
Broad Ripple.
Broad
Broad
Ripple.
Ripple.
Still Broad Ripple. I mean, do you feel that, you know, it's a little, is it still too young, or no? I mean, do you like reminiscing about the college days?
I for one, like, every once in a while, I don't go down there
No.
a lot. No, but every once in a while it's great to go back there and just, I haven't been there in a while, that's for sure. But
Sorry, you don't have to admit it. I mean, we all go to Broad Ripple undercover and, you know, say that we're college. I mean, I still do. So.
all right, well then, for full disclosure, no, I'm kidding.
Just turned 21.
Yeah.
This is my it's my first time at a bar.
Yeah,
and
could
just
you-
looking, you know,
yeah.
just looking to have a good time.
Just, you know.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show, and I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And all the luck and all the best with the new album.
Thanks for
Mike.
having us.
Appreciate it,
And
man.
thank you guys for joining us once again. This has been Michael Anthony Adams, Nick, Renan, and Zach. Thanks again. Take care.